Well, of course, in this video, the simple thing is, are these social justice warriors the most evil people ever? And this includes more evil than Adolf Hitler. Are they? Now, this book is not a social justice warrior book. I recommend everybody read this, and even this. Although this is more SJW, but it's not too bad. And of course, read this. The reason why I say they're worse, you may ask, how can they possibly be worse than people like Adolf Hitler and Stalin? First off, if you read his book, listen to his speeches, you know for a fact this guy is a social justice warrior. But instead of the white man being evil and wanting, first, of course, he has, you deport them, and then, you take them away from society, you put them in camps. We all know what happens to this poor little girl because of this guy. Because he made, according to him, it was the Jews. According to social justice warriors, it's the white man. It's men and whites, and especially white men. He convinces people, Adolf Hitler convinces people, the Jews are controlling all the banks and they're trying to keep you poor and they're doing this and that to you, and all these minorities and the white race, well, the Aryan white race, not all whites, but he believed the Germanic races, Germanic race was the most superior and all this stuff. And you hear that. What do you hear from social justice warriors? You hear some of them talking about slaughtering like 90% of men, putting men in camps, and you check them out like books. White people this, and white people have to go, and white men, and all this stuff. It's the same stuff. But why would I say that they are more evil than Adolf Hitler or Stalin, both of which were social justice warriors? But why are the current ones worse? Simple. Because we have history from people like this scumbag, Adolf Hitler, of what happens when social justice warriors get power. They see what they can easily read these books, listen to his speeches, and see where their thought process are going to lead us. But they do not care. They want to talk about white privilege. I mean, this is not a bad book in itself. Some of this, I admit, when I read this book, when I started reading this book, I was like, oh, great. Nonsense. It's going to just be plain nonsense. But I agree with some of the stuff he says. This one is not a social justice warrior type of book. It's pretty good. I recommend you get it. The Fragile Mind. But anyways, white privilege. White privilege, white privilege. You hear about white privilege. And I'll do a video on that a little later on. Let me see. If you're a poor white person in the Appalachian areas, poor as hell, how's that white privilege going to help you out? And one of the things I love about these people, if some jackass says something bad about blacks, what do? They say, well, you must live in a trailer, you're trailer trash. Basically, insulting poor white people. It's okay to insult poor whites, but don't you dare insult blacks. You have this scumbag like Adolf Hitler. You reread what he did to the Jews. And please, go online, listen to these social justice warriors. Listen to these Black Lives Matter people. Not every member of Black Lives Matters, but a lot of them, and listen to people like Steve Shives and Milo Stewart and all of them. Listen to what they say about men, about whites, Western society being so bad. If you don't like Western society, why don't you try the other areas like the Middle East, Africa, South America? And this is another thing. Why aren't these social justice warriors trying to improve the standard of living in those areas? They'll tell you, oh, there's a war on women and women's reproductive rights. We got these people, they're against women's reproductive rights. No one is against a woman's reproductive rights. Some people are for abortion, some people are not. Some people want certain constraints on abortion, because some people just have an abortion just to have one. They want to just have free sex. And you got some of these social justice warriors, they think if they have sex with a guy, then afterwards they regret it, it's rape. What they are doing, or if they get drunk with a guy, it's rape. What they're doing is going to cause people to think that women cannot think for themselves, and that they can't trust men, and men and women just simply aren't going to trust each other. And they're just simply trying to create bitterness between all these groups. That's why I'll do another video on how these social justice warriors are helping the predatory elite, the very wealthy people. Because thanks to social justice warriors, you got all these people, oh, white men are bad, these people are bad, this group this group that, blah, blah, blah. And they are far worse than Adolf Hitler because, as I said, we have him as evidence of what their thinking will lead us. Obviously, I'm not saying we're going to have death camps and a major war or any of that stuff. But don't for a moment think that these things cannot happen where we have, an increase on black and white crime. Oh, wait a minute. The knockout game where they find a white person, just punch them in the face, and some white people have even been killed because of it. Oh yeah, they don't even list it as a hate crime, do they? How about Christian Newsom and, I don't remember both of their names, but type in that name, Christian Newsom. I might not be giving the right name. The one may be Christian and the last name may be, the woman's name may be Newsom. But a white couple were brutally raped, both of them were brutally raped, beaten, and killed. But it wasn't listed as a hate crime. It was because they were white. How about a few months ago when a black woman in Texas says she hates white people and then attacks a white woman and it's not charged as a hate crime? That's where I disagree with this guy here in the Fragile Mind. Okay, he mentions, black and white crime, how blacks are victims of racist crimes. Well, the problem is white people, when blacks attack whites, they do not list it as a hate crime. Look up, I dare you, look up the numbers when it's black on white crime and white on black crime. Now, this does not mean you go out and, I'm not trying to say you can hate black folks. Because not every black person is a criminal, not every white person is a racist. And that's what you get from some of these social justice warriors. Oh, white men are racist and sexist. Only white people can be racist. And this is the lovely part about social justice warriors. If you're not a feminist, by definition, you're a sexist. So they'll give you the definition of feminism, their definition of feminism, the dictionary definition of feminism, and say, but when you give them the dictionary definition of racism or sexism, they say, no, that's not right. It's all white people cannot. Only white people can be racist. They basically change the definition to suit their purposes. And of course, we all know another little lovely tactic about social justice warriors. They will not allow anyone to speak. They yell and scream. They honk their horns and disrupt meetings. Those men's rights groups are having a meeting about cancers, that affect men, and they wanted to increase funding. And then, of course, you had another man wanted shelters for men that are being abused by their wives. And the women do their best to get that stuff shut down. I mean, feminists, not all women. But let me go into that though. I'll show you how because you can easily convince people to hate a group, and I'll show you how. I'm not the most convincing, but let's do it with women, because they do it a lot with men. Think about how pathetic women are. Now, this whole thing, I'm just making it up, so don't really mean women are pathetic, okay? So don't be starting all this nonsense, okay? Women are so pathetic that you don't even have to look in their direction. They just think you're attracted to them no matter what. Then they'll have a fit and actually get in your face and start yelling and screaming at you about it. Now, yes, I actually had this happen to me. Or you're trying to open the door for them because you both get it at the same time. You're just being, showing common courtesy, and they get upset. You're a student, and everything I'm mentioning actually happened, but I'm just, over-exaggerating as you should hate women for it, just so you know. Don't mean to ruin it, but I know how some of you guys are. But you're a student, you're only 3rd, 4th grade, and the teachers pull you out and punish you for no other reason for being a boy. They make up stuff you're doing, you're making a Hitler salute, even though you know nothing about Adolf Hitler when you're 8 freaking years old. Or all the boys are jumping up and down, so we're going to put them in the corners. And you're only going to do the boys, even though the girls are also jumping up and down. And of course, a girl is sniffing on you and being kind of rude, and the teacher takes her side and punishes you. And of course, women are so nasty, very stinking nasty, that they will accuse you of rape after they willingly had sex with you, even if they initiated the act. That's how pathetic and disgusting women are. They'll attack these men's rights groups when all they're talking about is increasing funding for cancer research or having battered shelters for men. They're pathetic. They're nasty. This is just how women are. They hate you more than you hate them. Now think about it. Now, if I actually said that and meant it, now all the incidences I gave you is true. Those actually happened. But if I use that as an excuse to hate women, I could probably, I can't, but there are people out there that have the charisma to spin it in such a way to make women look very nasty. Because let's face it, there are men out there, because that's how they do it with the men, Well, men follow you and they're nasty, they're violent, they're going to attack you. Oh, if you turn them down on a date, they're going to say this and that and blah, 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 which some men do. But not all men, just like not all women are horrible. Actually, most women are not horrible, just like most men are not horrible. But they are helping the wealthy, the very wealthy, because as long as we keep fighting each other, they get richer and richer. And that's another thing that makes them far worse, because they should have learned from this nasty guy. And please read this book. And you should also actually learn as much as you can about what she went through during the Holocaust and what the Jews went through. There are plenty of books of what the Jews went through because of this guy. And you social justice warriors, you're just disgusting. I mean, really, I do find you disgusting. I know you can go ahead and give a thumbs down, leave nasty comments or whatever. I know how you guys are. You'll try to get any videos or anything shut down that you disagree with, and that's fine. That's just how some of you guys are, and it's a shame. And then that's another thing. What makes them bad? There are a lot of people who do want social changes, like this guy, and even many things that these guys are saying in this book isn't so bad. I can agree with. The problem is when you try to make these changes about gender issues and LGBT things and stuff like that, people lump you as a social justice warrior, even though you're not. Think about that, though. I mean, I could care less if someone wants to have their gender changed. I really do not care. I respect two people that get married even if they're the same gender. That's their right. I respect that. They have that right. I believe that men and women are equal. I believe women should have the same rights in every which way as men. I do think it's funny as hell that that women didn't really care about the draft or anything like that until now. They have to now that they can be in combat, and some people want them to register for the selective service where they can be drafted. And I do hope that they do pass the bill that women can be drafted, because I think it'd be hilarious. And I'm going to probably do a little bit more on this, because there's one I want to do about how they're helping the predatory elite. So I'll probably cover this a little bit more. There's people that can do this a lot better than I can. But a lot of these social justice warriors, just the way they come. And please, anybody, I don't care who you are, read as many books as you can and videos, anything. Videos that you disagree with, like for example this book. A lot of you guys that are more against anti-social justice warriors, you do not like these social justice warriors, would never read a book like this. Or even a book like this, because you think this is a social justice warrior when he's not. You should always read books and watch videos on YouTube from people you disagree with more than people you agree with. You may learn something. I learned a lot reading this book. A lot of things in here I agree with. Changed my opinion on some things. Some things it did not. Same with this book. This book helped me understand a lot of things too about propaganda. Please read this book, Mein Kampf of Adolf Hitler. He goes through the propaganda real good. He tears that up, telling you about how to use propaganda. And social justice warriors have perfected it, because they have made the white man the bad guy. Well, good luck on that, though. Feel free to like, subscribe, or dislike. Feel free to leave a comment or whatever you want to do things. Also, please, and I, of course, do recommend you read anything about the Holocaust and about this poor girl. What she and her family went through. Only her father, Otto Frank, survived. It's actually kind of sad when you read it as an adult, though. But, I do recommend reading this book. It's actually pretty good. Thanks.